Travelogue. Part 6. Washington, D.C. Capital Vibes. When you visit Washington, you can feel typical capital vibes. You can see a lot of official buildings with flags like the White House, the Capitol, and many embassies of different countries. It is a center of political life and decision-making. You cannot see huge skyscrapers like in New York or Chicago. It does not have such an exciting life like in other American megapolises. I would describe this city as historical, prominent, and elegant. It has a moderate pace of life. You can see plenty of interesting places and even watch wild nature like squirrels and mice in the streets. Memorials. I can admit that Washington is a city of memorials devoted to prominent political leaders and important events in the history of the USA. During our trip, we visited the Lincoln Memorial, Roosevelt Memorial, Jefferson Memorial, Martin Luther King Memorial, and Vietnam Veterans Memorial. I was especially impressed by Lincoln Memorial. The building reminds Greek constructions with columns. It turned out that architect Henry Bacon modeled the Lincoln Memorial after the Parthenon in Athens, Greece. Bacon felt that a memorial dedicated to a man who defended democracy should echo the birthplace of democracy. The interesting fact is that the Lincoln Memorial steps witnessed history-making moments. One of them was the "I Have a Dream" speech by Martin Luther King. In the center of the building, you can see a solid figure of Lincoln sitting in contemplation. Visit to the Capitol. Guided tour in the Capitol and meeting with some officials there made an incredible impression too. We had a chance to walk along an art exhibition of artists from various states of the USA, explored the central section of the building, the crypt, watched historical paintings and sculptures in the rotunda, and explored the National Statuary Hall. Smithsonian Museum of African American History. This museum is completely devoted to Afro-American history from slavery to the present days. It has 4 levels and many precious artifacts. You can see there a lot of documents and accounts about the miserable life conditions of slaves, the era of segregation, and gradually exhibitions lead to the achievements of Afro-American people in different spheres of life like politics, education, sport, music, cinema, and art. I remember a carriage that was divided into 2 sections named Blacks Only and Whites Only, and a document about a $250 reward for runaway from the subscriber 3 Negro girls. This is so heartbreaking and unfair. Weather. As for the weather in July, I can admit humidity and sometimes you can expect heavy rains. When we were there, we received flood threats on our mobiles and experienced downpours. We stopped at the nearest security point. I remember a tourist who was completely wet and even his foreign passport was soaked. Poor guy. I hope he didn't have problems with documents after that. To sum up, I would say Washington is a place steeped in history and has a lot of historical places and unique museums worth visiting.